Limited big toe mobility is associated with all sorts of different pain and compensations at the foot, knee, and even hip. And most people think that this problem is caused by issues with the foot itself. And while that can be true to a certain extent, most people overlook this very common cause of why this restriction builds up over time. If the center of gravity of the body on one or both sides is being pushed forward relatively more onto the forefoot, this is naturally going to limit big toe extension. You could try this yourself. Try standing up and then leaning onto the ball of your foot and trying to lift your big toe. And then try relatively shifting back onto your heels and then doing it again. You'll notice that when your weight is more on your heels, you can more easily lift up your big toe. The reason why big toe extension is so necessary is because it's needed during the push-off phase of the gait and running cycle. This push-off period is really important because we need to time extension of the big toe with extension of our knee and hip. If this big toe mobility is limited, then we're not going to be able to properly access this position of propulsion. And this could have consequences from our foot all the way to our hip. But a common one we see at the foot itself is that we're going to, instead of getting into this position, we're going to roll off of the inside portion of the ball of the foot like this to get around that limited extension. And over time, you can see how this would lead to more of potentially a bunion forming. Now, we may need to work on the big toe mobility in isolation, which we'll discuss in a second. But first, what's really helpful is to learn how to shift the overall body's center of gravity back relatively onto the heels. This is a key first step that a lot of people miss. So here's how you can easily do it. To do this, find a chair and a wall and get just over 1 foot length away from the wall, and your feet should be about hip width apart. Start with your knees locked out in that chair close to you like this. Now feel these 3 points of contact on both feet, your tripod, but especially focus on your heels. All you're gonna do is very gently bend your knees and slowly squat down, stopping at the point where you feel your low back flatten out gently against the wall. It shouldn't feel like you're forcing it back. Once you find that with just a little bit of knee bend, keep your eyes straight ahead and then slowly reach that chair away from you gently, separating your shoulder blades away from your spine without depressing your sternum or doing this. And now just breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, nice and relaxed and controlled, focusing on developing a relationship between your weight shifted back in this spine position, making sure your weight is mostly in your heels, but not losing that forefoot either. In through the nose gently, out through the mouth, maintaining that slight reach. And then an easy way you can start to work on big toe mobility in isolation and get the proper shape of the foot associated with it is to cross one leg over the other, the side you want to work on. Take one hand and wrap it around the ball of your foot and twist it down very gently like this. This is going to raise your foot arch and get it into a higher position as it is when we're pushing off. Now take the other hand and wrap it around the big toe and now pull it up gently into extension and see if you can find a nice little stretch there. And then you can even mess around with pushing it down and even side to side.